Yo, what up? I'm coming. I'm coming. Kane is in the building. Yo, what's up, homies?
Ooh, let's get this thing going. Fucker.
Connected to iPhone and Galaxy Tab A2016.
I don't have a lot of time to tell you. If you switch to Liberty Mutual, you could save $782. Yeah!
So icy, it's cold in the dungeon.
Yo, check the white boy out, yo. Watch him do this shit real quick now. Hold up. So he doing all this shit from scratch, right? Looping everything as he go. Check him out. Look how he swivel with it. Look how he bob and swivel with that shit, yo. Look at him swivel, boy. He swiveling, boy. You ain't got no groove like that, boy. You can't swivel your hips like that. Yo, he throw this shit together hot as fuck, yo. Hey, listen to the lyrics to the song, though, yo. Hey, matter of fact, yo, this shit so hot, I gotta take it back from the top and listen to him build this shit up again, yo. Start with the snaps and the kick. Boom, boom. Okay, add that. He layered that too in there. Then he throw the boom. Boom, boom. Boom. Throw the pianos. Boom, boom. Yo, listen to this shit though. Listen to it. Let me stop. Ooh, that shit sound good. Ooh, don't hurt him like that, white boy. Swerving them hips, boy. Oh, you about to pick up the mic? Butthole. Goddamn, you got a butthole. I want to see that ass, girl. Yo, he is tripping.
Check that sweet little butthole, girl. Damn, I like that hole in your.
Yo, why did it do that?
But take it out. I want to take a good look. Ooh, nice job on your butthole. Goddamn, girl, I want to get up in that. Ooh, I want to take a little sniff. It smells like poopy.
Ooh, it smells like poopy. Yo, MB.
I wanna see that ass. Got a butthole. Let me see that ass.
I dedicate this to my homie MB. This is shout out for you.
Look at that ass. I wanna see that ass. Turn around. I wanna look at that ass, girl. See your butthole. Look, you got a butthole. Goddamn, you got a butthole. Goddamn, you got a butthole. Look at that ass. I wanna see that ass, girl. Turn around. Let me look at that ass. Damn, you got a butthole. Oh, this shit is too hard. Look how he's swooping them hips. Oh my god, ain't nobody got sauce like that. Yo, this fucker is too saucy. I can't even swivel my hips like that. Oh, he getting the mic back. He grabbing the mic back. Oh, drop the beat back. Hit him. Ooh,
Check
ooh.
that butthole
Girl.
out.
Ooh.
Check that sweet little
Butthole.
girl.
Ooh, girl.
Damn. I like that hole in your butt.
I like that hole in your
Take
butt.
it out. I want to take a good look.
Ooh, ooh.
Nice job on your butt.
Nice job on your
God
butthole.
damn, girl, I want to get up in that. Ooh, I want
Gotta
to take a little sniff.
Ooh, it smells like poopy. Look at that ass. I wanna see that ass, girl. Turn around.
Butthole.
Yo, dedicate that to MD. Little sexy mama, just, you know what I'm saying? You did a good job on your butthole. I like that hole in your butt. I wanna see that ass. Turn around. Yo, you can't say this is not fucking saucy. You lie. Lie and say that shit ain't fucking sauce. Yo, I swear, cause this dude is just him doing what the fuck he wanna do. He threw together a fucking hot ass beat like it wasn't shit, and then sung a funny ass song about checking out a girl butthole. I subscribe to his channel. His name is Mark Rebellion. I only listened to 2 tracks so far. I listened to that butthole song.
When you
and
ring
then I listened to
Domino's
this
new dinner
song.
bell, they'll come running. Or
So I'm gonna let you guys hear the same 2 songs I listened to, and then I'm gonna listen to a new one. Yo, he just throw these shits together like it ain't nothing though. I used to watch another producer who does the same thing. No. That sauce though, look how he's swagging, yo. You can't swivel swag your hips like that. Yo, this dude is juking, what? Making those beats, what? That shit hot, yo. Oh. Wait.
Baby, you been on my mind for so long. Oh, I need you.
Put that little loop real quick. My for so long. You know I need you. Oh, he's stacking it. Stack it, boy.
Baby, you been on my mind for so long. Oh, I need you. Yeah.
You done stacked it 3
Break
times.
it on down for you, baby. Listen. Oh, help me, baby, to understand.
Yo, he killing it.
Just what I got to do to be your man, baby. I'll be your little puppy dog. Oh, just tell me when to come, baby. I'm there at your beck and call, baby. There, baby. You've been on my mind for so long. Oh, I need you.
Oh, man.
You've been on my mind.
Yo, that motherfucker is silly as shit, yo. Baby, you've been on my mind for so long. You know I need you. Alright, I ain't never heard this shit before. Like I say, I only listened to those 2 songs already. I just listened to them again.
I'll be there to catch you.
This November is the most important election of our lifetime.
And yes, people say that every year.
But this time, it's actually true.
So Pod Save America is heading out on the road.
Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania, California.
To talk to the candidates and activists and voters. It's a political conversation for anyone who's not ready to give up
Or go insane. So much is at stake.
If this isn't who we are,
It's time to prove it. Now.
Yo. My phone is acting funny. I don't know why it stopped playing that other guy's music. Working on these bricks right here. Yeah, and it won't let me flip it back for some reason. I don't know why. Is it working like that? No. Lighting here is terrible. And yeah, I'm just adding some more textures to this set of bricks in the back.
But you remain. You
Yeah. This is another one right here, bro. One more to the Arena series. This is gonna be hot.
To hold me tight, I need you. Come back to me.
Bro, that shit hot as fuck, yo. Like, god damn. Yo, this motherfucker is putting together some hot ass sounds, yo.
I need you. You I need you, babe. Need you, babe, more than love now. Oh, I need you, babe. I need you in my life. Oh, you know I need you good. You know I need you bad. Oh, now. You gotta come back to me, come back to me. Back on the rewind with the VCR, and now I rewind. I'm talking rewind with the VCR, rewind it with the VCR. Where the tips at? Give me that super chat. Where the motherfucking tips at? Need a little tip, baby. Need a little tip. I need a little tip, then I need a little tip. Pop the little tip in the super chat, baby, right now. Need it, goddamn, need the super chat back. Pop it in the top of the screen, baby. Do the little money, now you know what I mean. Need a little bit of super chat. You know I do it like that with the super chat. I'm talking, listen to me. I need you, baby. I said, 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 thank you. Thank you. Hey, thank you to Tiny Ruin. Thank you to Ryan Schmidt. Thank you to Lockjaw. Thank you to Simon Tremblay, David Thomason. Thank you, Wyatt P. Appreciate you. Medeski, Martin, and Wood, yes! Medeski, Martin, and Wood. I'm talking John Medeski, Bill and Martin, and Chris Wood. The best, baby. The best, baby. The best, baby. The best, baby. Hey, yo, the best, baby. I said it's long mix. I said it's disco mix. I said it's, baby, yo, it's Austria. I'm talking... Whoa. Whoa.
What's up, bro? Yo, this dude right here is popping, though. I'm gonna definitely have to come back and watch some more of his stuff.
So you think you need to move to get the home of your dreams? Don't move, improve. These
Come on, man.
Stone accents walls and homes were done by ordinary.
I
investigated the
videos you sent me. I just came to the conclusion that everything that we think we know is a fucking lie.
Yeah, it is.
And the whole system is a lie. The two-party system is a lie. You look at like Alex Jones and when what's his name, Elon Musk, were on Joe Rogan, and there's some amazing editing going on with that show, and I mean that in a great way. They're putting together some crazy clips that let you see how important that show is, and how similar what they talked about were. And they are two ends of the spectrum. They're both talking about simulation. They're both talking about like AI and the dangers of AI. And it was really amazing to watch it. They basically both said the same thing.
The elite are all about transcendence and living forever and the secrets of the universe, and they want to know all this. Some are good, some are bad, some are a mix. But the good ones don't ever want to organize. The bad ones didn't want to organize because they lust after power. Powerful consciousnesses don't want to dominate other people. They want to empower them, so they don't tend to get together until things are really late in the game. Then they come together. Evil's always defeated because good is so much stronger. And we're on this planet, and Einstein's physics showed it, Max Planck's physics showed it, there's at least 12 dimensions. And now that's why all the top scientists and billionaires are coming out saying it's a false hologram. It is artificial. The computers are scanning it and finding tension points where it's artificially projected and gravity's bleeding in to this universe. That's what they call dark matter. So we're like a thought or a dream that's a wisp in some computer program, some God's mind, whatever. They're proving it all. It's all coming out.
I think most likely, this is just about probability, there are many, many simulations. These simulations are, you might as well call them reality, or you could call them multiverse.
These simulations, you believe, are created? Like someone has manufactured?
They're running on the substrate.
Now, there's like this sub-transmission zone below the third dimension that's just turned over to the most horrible things is what it resonates to. And it's trying to get up into the third dimension that's just a basic level consciousness to launch into the next levels. And our species is already way up at the fifth, sixth dimension, consciously our best people. But there's this big war trying to like basically destroy humanity because humanity has free will and there's a decision to which level we want to go to. We have free will, so evil's allowed to come and contend, not just good. And the elites themselves believe they're racing using human technology to try to take our best minds and build some type of breakaway civilization where they're going to merge with machines, transcend, and break away from the failed species that is man, which is kind of like a false transmission because they're thinking what they are is ugly and bad, projecting it onto themselves instead of believing, no, it's a human test about building us up.
Well, that's the scenario. The merge scenario with AI is the one that seems like probably the best, like
for us.
Yes, like if you can't beat it, join it. That's
yeah.
You know, so from a long-term existential standpoint, that's like the purpose of Neuralink, is to create a high bandwidth interface to the brain, such that we can be symbiotic with AI, because we have a bandwidth problem. You just can't communicate through because it's too slow.
There's now a human counterstrike taking place to shut this off before it gets fully into place and to block these systems and to try to have an actual debate about where humanity goes and cut off the pedophiles and psychic vampires that are in control of this AI system before humanity's destroyed.
Wait a minute, humanity is only controlled of AI? How'd the pedophiles get in control of AI?
The pedophiles at a whatever level, the devil, whatever you want to call it, this interdimensional thing that gives them advanced off-world world technology, the fallen one that's not of this world, is giving them advanced knowledge on how to construct these systems that have already been used before on other populations.
What?
Is that Satan?
But what are you
That's
talking
Satan.
about?
That's Satan.
But explain that. You're saying
Satan
something
becomes
insane.
something that the stupid preacher tells you about, who's totally controlled, or something you read about on in the news or TV.
Right.
But this is an interdimensional force that wants to influence us to build something that absorbs us and kills us, rather than the divine free will we're given to build something much better that empowers the species. So the species is now making a decision about its entire future.
Where are you getting this from?
That's what it is.
But where are you getting it from?
I know, from looking at all the data, researching it, studying it, watching the enemy. That's the big decision that humanity has now got before us.
How would you describe what a centralized bank is? Let's start before we get into the reserve.
Well, it's interesting. I was thinking about this, and there was a taxi driver years ago that I was in a car with, and he told me that, he said, what do you think the purpose of banks is? I said, well, as me, I just go in and I want to get a loan. It helps me afford my life and my lifestyle, and I'm making my payments. I need a place to store my money. I need a place to transact. He said, well, okay. He goes, where do you think banks got their name from? And I said, what? And he's like, no, where do you think that originated, the theory behind it? And I said, I don't know. He said, well, the banks of a river control the flow of that water and the direction. And money, you control the flow and the direction of the money. So a central bank, first of all, we have to understand that kind of a little bit of the structure here, the financial structure, the pyramid. You have the IMF and you've got the World Bank, but above that is the BIS or Basel III. Okay.
The Basel III was the Basel III.
Banking of International Settlements.
Oh, okay.
And so they're at the very top. I mean, there's people above that, but
like when you look at Russia, not to cut you off because it's really interesting. Russia, and I think it might be propaganda, celebrated kicking the Rothschilds out of Russia. But then you see they're still at that whatever that group is you just said. What's it called? The International Bank Settlement.
BIS, International Bank Settlement.
So they're still a part of that, which started to make me think that the Rothschilds are evil, but they're also a boogeyman used kind of like the way we use Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda in a weird way.
Yeah, well, there's more families involved than just them, and there's more interest. So there's also for your, I won't get into this today, but for your readers, there's this book on CIA's actual website called the Council. I think it's the Council of 300. You should read that.
Yeah, dude.
That's available in PDF form. You can download it and read it. It's very dense.
And you see some of the names on there. Do you know who's one of the names? And it shocked the shit out of me. Steve Ballmer. Do you know who that is?
No.
He's the owner of the LA Clippers.
Oh shit.
He's the richest owner in pro sports. He's a giant part of Microsoft. Now, here's an interesting thing about Steve Ballmer is that he was like roommates are down the hall from the guys who invented Microsoft. Now, if you think this is a really smart, rich guy, what a great way to get your business off fucking the ground than to bring in a rich kid who owns part of it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
No. This goes back hundreds of years. So there was the Bank of London, if I understand this correctly, that was formed in 1694, and the Rothschilds actually were not known as the Rothschilds back then. But about 100 years later, Nathan Rothschild, if I understand this correctly,
I like Nathan.
He financed both sides of the Napoleon War, and was ready for crisis because no matter what would happen as a result of that war, he would win, and he would be able to take over the Bank of London. He would be able to possibly even get control of the reserve. So. This has been,
but you know how he does that by once Napoleon loses, he runs back to London and tells everybody that Napoleon won. They freak out, and this is a classic international banker move. We'll get into some of that. Is they all sell their bonds, and he comes in and buys them all at pennies on the dollar, and now he owns the pound.
Yes. Every single thing that you see of war is always to consolidate power, not by the people who are fighting it, but for the people who come in with the opportunity.
Right.
I mean, you can look at financial crash 2008 and look at who benefited from that. Who got more powerful and richer? All of the banks, all of the multinational banks, Citi, JP Morgan, and actually with no liquidity, really. It was credit, it was fake money that was printed, given to them by the central bank.
I don't know if you know this part, but we've talked about on here, and this is my belief, that, obviously the Civil War was very much about having a centralized bank, that England and I believe Spain were going to come in on the side of the South if they agreed to have a centralized bank. Lincoln was in fact issuing greenbacks. And have you ever heard the theory that Alexander II came in on the side of Lincoln because he just dealt with serfdom and all that stuff, and he kicked out all those bankers?
I didn't know that.
And that there was actually that Lincoln and Alexander were very close. They had bonded over both their situations, and that when the threat of Britain and Spain were going to come in, that Russia said, if you come in, we'll send.
They did.
Yeah, and they sent, and nobody talks about that.
About a blockade.
There's one fucking website. There's one website, and this other guy who I don't know why he won't come on the show. They're the only ones who ever talk about the fact that Russia came in. Now we can also go back with Russia and Kazakhstan, right?
Right.
And the old Khazarians that were like a lot of people think were like very much the dark arts people, and they are very much behind the whole international banking stuff, and that's a whole different show. But that's where a lot of the bumping was, Russia going after Khazaria or whatever it was called, and then him making them pick another religion, all that, and that's where the fucking Russian scare, Red Scare always happens. Then you have Lincoln doing this, and Lincoln gets assassinated by a Freemason, a level 33 Freemason. Booth is a Freemason. They kill him out. Next guy, I think his replacement even was anti-centralized bank. He dies of poison. The next guy comes in, boom, centralized bank.
Tonight
No, mother sucker.
Each Lutron LED dimmer provides 250 lighting levels, so you can set the light just right.
Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Berend. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Algie Pug. Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Berend. Section 0. Foreword. These pages have been written with purpose and hope that their suggestions may furnish you a key to open up the way to the attainment of your desires, and to explain that fear should be entirely banished from your effort to obtain possession of the things you desire. This presupposes, of course, that your desire for possession is based upon your aspiration for greater liberty. For example, you feel that the possession of more money, lands, or friends will make you happier, and your desire for possession of these things arises from a conviction that their possession will bring you liberty and happiness. In your effort to possess, you will discover that the thing you most and ultimately need is to be, always, not spasmodically, your best self. That self which understands that the mistakes of those you love are simply misunderstandings. Your feeling that greater possessions, no matter of what kind they may be, will of themselves bring you contentment or happiness is a misunderstanding. No person, place, or thing can give you happiness. They may give you cause for happiness and a feeling of contentment, but the joy of living comes from within. Therefore, it is here recommended, rather than otherwise, that you should make the effort to obtain the things which you feel will bring you joy, provided, as previously stated, that your desires are in accord with the joy of living. It is also desired in this volume to suggest the possibilities in store for all who make persistent effort to understand the law of visualization and make practical application of this knowledge on whatever plane he or she may be. The word effort, as here employed, is not intended to convey the idea of strain. All study and meditation should be without strain or tension. It has been my endeavour to show that by starting at the beginning of the creative action or the mental picture, certain corresponding results are sure to follow. While the laws of the universe cannot be altered, they can be made to work under specific conditions, thereby producing results for individual advancement which cannot be obtained under the spontaneous working of the law provided by nature. However far the suggestions I have given you of the possibilities in store for you through visualizing may carry you beyond your past experience, they nowhere break the continuity of the law of cause and effect. If, through the suggestions given here, anyone is brought to realize that their mind is a center through and in which all power there is in operation, simply waiting to be given direction in the one and only way through which it can take specific action, and this means reaction in concrete or physical form, then the mission to which this book is dedicated has been fulfilled. Try to remember that the picture you think, feel and see is reflected into the universal mind, and by the natural law of reciprocal action must return to you in either spiritual or physical form. Knowledge of this law of reciprocal action between the individual and the universal mind opens to you free access to all you may wish to possess or to be. It must be steadfastly borne in mind that all this can only be true for the individual who recognises that they derive their power to make an abiding mental picture from the all-originating universal spirit of life, God, and can be used constructively only so long as it is employed and retained in harmony with the nature of the spirit which originated it. To ensure this, there must be no inversion of the thought of the individual regarding their relationship to this universal originating spirit, which is that of a son or daughter, through which the parent mind acts and reacts. Thus conditioned, whatever you think and feel yourself to be, the creative spirit of life is bound to faithfully reproduce in a corresponding reaction. This is the great reason for picturing yourself and your affairs as you wish them to be as existing facts, though invisible to the physical eye, and live in your picture. An honest endeavour to do this, always recognising that your own mind is a projection of the originating spirit, will prove to you that the best there is yours in all your ways. End of foreword. Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Berend. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 1. Order of Visualization. The exercise of the visualizing faculty keeps your mind in order and attracts to you the things you need to make life more enjoyable in an orderly way. If you train yourself in practice of deliberately picturing your desire and carefully examining it, you will soon find that your thought and desires come and proceed in more orderly procession than ever before. Having reached a state of ordered mentality, you are no longer in a constant state of mental hurry. Hurry is fear, and consequently destructive. In other words, when your understanding grasps the power to visualize your heart's desire and hold it with your will, it attracts to you all things requisite to the fulfillment of that picture by the harmonious vibrations of the law of attraction. You realize that since order is heaven's first law, and visualization places things in their natural element, then it must be a heavenly thing to visualize. Everyone visualizes, whether they know it or not. Visualizing is the great secret of success. The conscious use of this great power attracts to you greatly multiplied resources, intensifies your wisdom, and enables you to make use of advantages which you formerly failed to recognize. We now fly through the air, not because anyone has been able to change the laws of nature, but because the inventor of the flying machine learned how to apply nature's laws, and by making orderly use of them produced the desired result. So far as natural forces are concerned, nothing has changed since the beginning. There were no airplanes in the year one because those of that generation could not conceive the idea as a practical working possibility. It has not yet been done, was the argument, and it cannot be done. Yet the laws and materials for practical flying machines existed then as now. Troward tells us that the great lesson he learned from the airplane and wireless telegraphy is the triumph of principle over precedent and the working of an idea to its logical conclusion in spite of accumulated testimony of all past experience. With such an example before you, can you not realise that still greater secrets may be disclosed? Also, that you hold the key within yourself with which to unlock the secret chamber that contains your heart's desire. All that is necessary in order that you may use this key and make your life exactly what you wish it to be is a careful inquiry into the unseen causes which stand back of every external and visible condition. Then bring these unseen causes into harmony with your conception, and you will find that you can make practical working realities of possibilities which at present seem but fantastic dreams. We all know that the balloon was the forefather of the airplane. In 1766, Henry Cavendish, an English nobleman, proved that hydrogen gas was 7 times lighter than atmospheric air. From that discovery, the balloon came into existence, and from the ordinary balloon, the dirigible, a cigar-shaped airship, was evolved. Study of aeronautics and the laws of aerial locomotion of birds and projectiles led to the belief that mechanism could be evolved by which heavier-than-air machines could be made to travel from place to place and remain in the air by the maintenance of great speed which would overcome by propulsive force the ordinary law of gravitation. Professor Langley of Washington, who developed much of the theory which others afterwards improved, was subjected to much derision when he sent a model airplane up, only to have it bury its nose in the muddy waters of the Potomac. But the Wright brothers, who experimented in the latter part of the 19th century, realised the possibility of travelling through the air in a machine that had no gas bag. They saw themselves enjoying this mode of transportation with great facility. It is said that one of the brothers would tell the other, when their varied experiments did not turn out as they expected, "It's all right, brother. I can see myself riding in that machine, and it travels easily and steadily." Those Wright brothers knew what they wanted and kept their pictures constantly before them. In visualizing, or making a mental picture, you are not endeavouring to change the laws of nature. You are fulfilling them. Your object in visualizing is to bring things into regular order, both mentally and physically. When you realize that this method of employing the creative power brings your desires, one after another, into practical material accomplishment, your confidence in a mysterious but unfailing law of attraction, which has its central power station in the very heart of your word picture, becomes supreme. Nothing can shake it. You never feel that it is necessary to take anything from anybody else. You have learned that asking and seeking have receiving and finding as their co-relatives. You know that all you have to do is to start the plastic substance of the universe flowing into the thought moulds your picture desire provides. End of chapter 1. Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Berend. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 2. How to attract to yourself the things you desire. The power within you which enables you to form a thought picture is the starting point of all there is.
That's basically The Secret, I guess. I've read The Secret, so... And the laws of attraction. I thought it was going to be like some different shit. Nah, it wasn't.
Hello everybody and welcome to Ancient Architects. In one of my previous videos, I discussed a theory put forward by Professor Ivan Watkins that states that the ancient people of the world were able to cut stone by harnessing the power of the sun. Many, including myself, do not believe that simple tools were enough to create some of the truly wondrous ancient stone monuments seen on just about every continent of the world, from Machu Picchu in South America to the Giza Plateau in Egypt. There is a body of thought that strongly believes that ancient aliens are responsible, but I've never seen any credible evidence to believe such a theory. Of course, you can interpret ancient writings, images, and structures in a number of different ways, but I believe there was once a far more advanced civilization that collapsed at the end of the last ice age, the remnants of which became scattered around the world. One thing is for sure, certain ancient monuments do show advanced methods of stonework, but I believe that it wasn't due to the use of electricity and power tools, but a more efficient technology that harnessed natural forces such as the sun, wind, water, or sound. The technology has not been recorded in history, but if natural forces were harnessed, there wouldn't be much evidence recorded in the archaeological record, apart from the product of that technology, which is what we see in the form of perfectly drilled granite, intricate diorite vases, and perfectly fitting irregular stone walls. You can't just drill or shape stone in the way you can wood or metal, especially hard stones like granite or diorite, as they are made from extremely hard, interlocking minerals that wear down tools before any real progress can even be made. The ancient stone and metal tools that we are told were used would have very little impact on hard igneous rocks, so archaeology is certainly missing something. In the modern age, it takes diamond-tipped tools and lots of cooling fluid to achieve the feats of stonemasonry that we see in the distant past, and even now it is a relatively slow and difficult process. Which brings us to another theory for how they achieved it, by harnessing the power of sound. Tuning forks, vibrations, sonic drilling, and acoustic levitation are all ways that sound can be utilized for technological gain, and are all scientifically feasible using not just modern but ancient methods and materials. So how does sonic drilling work? Well, in simple terms, when sound vibrations of a specific frequency are sent through a drill bit, or even through something as simple as a metal pipe, it can vibrate in such a way to act like a very high frequency jackhammer. The drill barely needs to turn, as the vibrational impacts and shattering do the job. Compared to conventional drilling, the method is actually faster, puts less wear on the tool bit, and takes less energy. Conceivably, you can even turn the handle of a large tuning fork into a cutting rod, whether a drill tube or a drill bit. Even a copper tube could conceivably cut into granite using this method. To turn a tuning fork into a sonic drill, the resonant frequency of the cutting rod must match the frequency of the fork that is attached to it. Scientifically, the way it works is that transverse vibrations from the fork prongs, known as tines, move the bottom of the U-shape up and down, which sends longitudinal vibrations through the cutting rod. At the rod's resonant frequency, these vibrations create standing waves, with maximum vibration at the beginning and the end of the rod, and there is a point of no vibration in the middle, where a handle could be attached. For example, tines 30 centimeters long and 3 centimeters thick make a resonant frequency of 1100 Hz, and would require a 1.5 meter long rod to allow cutting, as pictured here. Notice how long the rod is relative to the fork, and how it actually looks like a trident or harpoon. It could even function as such if the tines were sharpened. In Egyptian mythology, the falcon god Horus is associated with harpoons, but maybe the clearest evidence for sonic drilling has been staring us in the face for millennia. One common symbol or object that is seen so often in ancient Egyptian art is the scepter. It appears in relics, art, and hieroglyphs associated with the ancient Egyptian religion. Known as the Was scepter, it is a long, straight staff with a forked end. The opposite end is sometimes seen to be a stylized animal head, But maybe this is actually a cutting implement. The scepter was a symbol of power and dominion, and although it has a number of other mythological and symbolic associations, maybe the true meaning got lost through the dynastic history of ancient Egypt. What became a symbol of power maybe once was literally an object of power. But mainstream historians and archaeologists attest that traditional stone and metal tools were used to create stone blocks and ornaments. And this is all because of depictions of the art of stoneworking in wall reliefs from the 5th dynasty all the way up to the 26th dynasty. But for a start, when you analyse drilled granite, it is clear that these methods certainly did not create the boreholes. When you look at the holes that do not go all the way through the granite, the circumference of the...
Oh, they want to cut you off when that shit be getting good, yo.
As you get away to a place.
The circular hole has a deeper groove, implying it was created with a metal pipe. And it wouldn't be possible to cut into granite simply using a metal pipe, sand, and manual labour, as we are led to believe.
What's the problem here? There's not, you know, without a steady stream of water, you're not getting new material in there to do the cutting action. You're not getting rid of the old powder, which is just interfering with the drill going down.
But you can cut granite efficiently and quickly with a metal pipe if you use sonic drilling methods. In ancient Egyptian images, we do see the use of simple hand tools to make stone vases and bowls, but such a method, even in conjunction with sand, wouldn't be able to efficiently grind stone such as granite or diorite, and create the striations or tool marks that we see inside drilled Egyptian artifacts. Furthermore, the most amazing and most difficult stonework created from the hardest stones are usually Old Kingdom, predating the 5th dynasty, and many were actually pre-dynastic. There is no doubt that the stonework from the 5th dynasty onwards could have been created from the simple stone tools shown, as the rock used to make such artifacts was usually softer, such as alabaster, sandstone, and limestone. The oldest depiction of a rock drill is a hieroglyph known as U24 in Gardner's 1957 guide. This is first seen in a 3rd dynasty tomb at Saqqara. Maybe the hieroglyph is actually depicting a tuning fork tool, and not a depiction of a traditional hand crank rock drill, as we are told. Some researchers believe they have found ancient Egyptian carvings of 2 tuning forks attached by wires on a statue of Isis and Anubis, shown here. This is one way you could get them to resonate to a specific frequency for a prolonged amount of time to cut stone without hitting them with a hammer. Interestingly, on the website keelynet.com, there was an email that was sent to the website that stated, "Do you know about the tuning forks which were discovered by Egyptologists who, presumably because they were unable to ascribe a utility to these items, deemed them to be anomalous? Some years ago, an American friend picked the lock of a door leading to an Egyptian museum storeroom. Inside, she found hundreds of what she described as tuning forks. These ranged in size from approximately 8 inches to approximately 8 or 9 feet overall, and resembled catapults, but with a taut wire stretched between the tines of the fork. She insists, incidentally, that these were definitely non-ferrous, but steel. These objects resembled a letter U with a handle, a bit like a pitchfork, and, when the wire was plucked, they vibrated for a prolonged period. It occurs to me to wonder if these devices might have had hardened tool bits attached to the bottom of the handles, and if they might have been used for cutting or engraving stone, once they had been set vibrating. Of course, I have no way of verifying this email that was actually sent in 1997, but it is certainly interesting in that it confirms the carving on the statue of Isis and Anubis of 2 tuning forks connected by wires. There is also this image from a Sumerian cylinder seal showing a musical scene, and a musician is clearly seen holding a tuning fork. The technology, I'm sure, is ancient and not an 18th century invention, as we are led to believe. Whatever the truth, independent researchers have proved that you can bore holes through solid rock with copper tubing using sonic drilling methods. And with new research into ancient megalithic sites across the world, we are finding out that acoustics were widely understood by the ancients and were certainly taken into account when building stone structures. This relatively new line of archaeological research is known as archaeoacoustics and is observed at sites such as Stonehenge in England, Adam's Calendar in South Africa, and Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, not to mention the Great Pyramid of Egypt. They all share unquestionable acoustic properties that could well have amplified sound waves to vibrate forked tools at a constant pitch, and allow the seemingly advanced method of stone cutting that has eluded historical researchers for so long. Thank you for watching this episode of Ancient Architects. Please subscribe to the channel, please like this video, and please leave a comment below. Thank you very much.
Hey Google, show me a 15-minute taco recipe.
Show me directions to the nearest salon. Hey Google.
Turn on the lights.
How do I slice a mango?
Slice along the flat.
Go back to step 8.
Show me how to make an octopus costume on YouTube.
8. Octopus arms. Show me photos of a healthy succulent. Yeah, not us, bud.
A little help you can see. Google Assistant. Now on part of the list.
Tuning sports. That's fucking. You're a fucking trip, dude.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ancient Architects. It was denied for years by the Egyptian authorities, but beneath the Giza Plateau, under the pyramids and the Sphinx, is a huge labyrinth of ancient caves and tunnels, some of which are said to date back to 15,000 years. It's an enormous underground world that has been conveniently kept away from the history books, but the entire region of ancient Memphis, now Giza, sits on top of countless underground chambers and secret tunnels. Not far from Giza, at Fayum Oasis, Herodotus once described the existence of an incredible labyrinth, which, according to his writings, was an endless wonder. He tells us that it was an impressive size, containing 1,500 rooms and subterranean chambers, and how it was already off limits to him more than 1,500 years ago. But Herodotus was certainly in awe, and he wrote, "There I saw 12 palaces, regularly disposed, which is communication with each other, interspersed with terraces and arranged around 12 halls. It is hard to believe they are the work of man. The walls are covered with carved figures, and each court is exquisitely built of white marble, and surrounded by a colonnade. Near the corner, where the labyrinth ends, there is a pyramid, 240 feet in height, with great carved figures of animals on it, and an underground passage by which it can be entered. I was told very credibly that underground passages connected this pyramid with the pyramids at Memphis." Herodotus even wrote about a massive multi-level megalithic complex beneath the pyramids at Giza, said to have been at least 15,000 years old, and many other authors have supported his writings. In his famous book, On the Mysteries of the Egyptians, Iamblichus, a 4th century Syrian philosopher, wrote about an entranceway through the body of the Sphinx into the Great Pyramid. He said, "This entrance, obstructed in our day by sands and rubbish, may still be traced between the forelegs of the crouched colossus. It was formerly closed by a bronze gate, whose secret spring could be operated only by the Magi. It was guarded by public respect, and a sort of religious fear maintained its inviolability, better than armed protection would have done. In the belly of the Sphinx were cut galleries leading to the subterranean part of the Great Pyramid. These galleries were so artfully crisscrossed along their course to the pyramid that, in setting forth into the passage without a guide through the network, one ceasingly and inevitably returned to the starting point. A Sumerian tablet talks of the abode of the gods as being an underground place, entered through a tunnel, its entrance hidden by sand and by what they call Huana. His teeth as the teeth of a dragon, his face the face of a lion. Some believe this is a clear reference to the original Sphinx, before its head was reshaped.
I think Kanye just tried to say too much at one time, like I try to do sometimes. You know what I'm saying? When you know so much, man, and you strongly opinionated, you can't tell everybody how you feel about everything in 10 minutes. You know, you just can't. He want people to understand him, but you don't, Kanye. You don't have enough time, and even he's odd. This is a fine wine. This isn't sound bites, but still, like I agree with some things he say. You know what I'm saying? Because he said a lot of facts, but some of his opinions, you know what I'm saying, his own personal opinions and stuff, like I don't agree with all of that shit. So was it a publicity stunt? More than likely. Did he have some valid points? He absolutely did. Did he make himself seem weird because he tried to talk about 20 fucking topics in 10 minutes? Yeah. Even when he said slavery was a choice, I understand that. You know what I'm saying? Because them boys down there in Haiti, they ain't wanted to be no slaves no more. And they had a choice. To die or fight. And the Haitian revolutions, Toussaint and all them motherfuckers won. Because they decided not to be slaves. Motherfucking Nat Turner and his gang had a choice. Said, fuck, I'm tired of being a slave. And they chose not to be a slave. So in some ways, I really understood what he said when he said that shit. I understand the 13th Amendment. I made that one quote from him on my Facebook page. He said that we don't have reparations, but we have the 13th Amendment. And that's exactly what I typed. Kanye West. You know what I'm saying? We don't have reparations, but we have the 13th Amendment. And that shit makes fucking sense. And that's deep, but he talking so fast and talking so fast and talking so fast, he just sounded weird as shit. Oh, it really wasn't a joke. No, that shit was some legit shit. That was the real deal. And so Kanye is gonna run for president, or maybe he's gonna be vice president or something next time. I don't know. Yeezy. I want Kaepernick to wear the hat. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, bro. You know what I'm saying? I feel you. Make America great. You know what I'm saying? Not great again. We stuck in this fucking time paradox, yo. And see that shit go over most motherfuckers' head, yo. I don't know why they had the cameras on for that shit. Like, that could have been just a private meeting You know, Obama had a couple homies over there playing basketball and shit. They ain't had the paparazzi and everybody snapping photos. You know I love you. Come on, man. You talking about I like you. I love you. I love this guy. But aren't you supposed to love everybody? Ain't that what the Bible and all that other shit tell you to do? Love your enemy. Love your neighbor as you love thyself. Pray for your enemies. Turn the other cheek and all that good shit. That's what he doing, right? Motherfucker say, oh, you crazy. You think racism can control me? You fuck with this motherfucker racist? I can still love him because he a human. I'm going to watch him because he a snake. We need to end stopper first. You know what I'm saying? That shit ain't helping nobody. Murder rate in Chicago been dropping 20% every year. In Chirac. We need to bring different programs to the school, man. More arts, meditation. Oh, that shit just sound like good shit to me. I mean, motherfuckers say you crazy. But Elon Musk can talk about parallel dimensions and different multiverses and motherfucking artificial. I mean, damn, I can't think of that shit now. Motherfucking simulations and all that shit. But then Kanye West say the same shit. Then you know, you crazy. No, he said why we got a 13th Amendment? We ain't got no 13th floor in most hotels. That's what it was kind of weird. I don't know. He lost me on a couple parts, but I kind of stuck with him. I listened to that shit twice, actually. I listened to it one time and kind of halfway listened to it again. I just think, I don't know. Why did that have to be publicized like that? And then, you know, if it was like Trump said, oh, I thought this was just going to be a lunch with me and a couple guys who like me. Well, if that was the case, why didn't you just do that instead of having the paparazzi out and making it feel like he had to give a speech? And then ask him, how does it feel to be in the Oval Office? Feels good, right? Yeah, feels good. A lot of positive energy here. And Mr. Brown, I like you. There's no one like you. There's no one like you. No athlete like you. You know? And that's true. That's true. It is. And our president needs to be the flyest. He need to have the flyest cars, the flyest airplanes. Man, this is the iPlane 1. Working on this shit with Apple. You know what I'm saying? This shit is better than Air Force One. The iPlane 1, man. Yeezy is on. Man, I made myself a billionaire off of sneakers. It's called the Yeezy effect. You know, the family I married into, you know, it's not a lot of male energy there. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. That's the only thing, man. You'll never know Kanye unless you know Kanye, and most people won't know Kanye because you don't fucking know him. You know, we just know him from what we see about him on TV and his music and shit. But that don't mean we really, really know who the fuck Kanye is, man. You just have to know that guy be around him on a daily basis, to understand like why he thinks the way he does. And you guys know why I think the way I do, cause y'all here with me all the fucking time. But we don't chill with Kanye like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, that motherfucker made some valid points. I think he made a lot of valid points. He hit on a lot of different fucking topics. He stated a lot of facts. But then he said a bunch of weird shit too. But that's his personal, you know, that's come from his personal life and his own personal beliefs and shit. Can't hate on nobody for that, cause shit, motherfuckers say I'm crazy the way I think. Motherfuckers think I'm racist because I don't pay white people, you know what I'm saying, and shit like that. But hey, you motherfucker, do you know me? You don't even fucking know me. I watch your stream, that don't mean you know me, really? How long you been watching my stream? I'm getting hungry now. From the first time that I saw you, you said hello, and I said hi.
To how we see it today. First century Roman historian Pliny wrote that deep below the Sphinx is concealed the tomb of a ruler named Harmachis that contains great treasure, and interestingly, the Sphinx itself was once known as the Great Sphinx Harmachis, who mounted guard since the time of the followers of Horus. The 4th century Roman historian Ammianus Marcellinus made more disclosures about the existence of subterranean vaults that led to the Great Pyramid, saying, "Inscriptions which the ancients asserted were engraved on the walls of certain underground galleries, and passages were constructed deep in the dark interior to preserve ancient wisdom from being lost in the flood." The Giza Plateau is well known for having a huge underground cave network that is composed of both man-made tunnels and chambers, as well as subterranean rivers and passages, which have been mapped using ground-penetrating radar since 1978. Many have speculated their size, with some claiming that the chambers are larger than the world's biggest cathedrals, and that the legendary City of the Gods may in fact be a massive structure located beneath the surface. There is also a manuscript written by El Tlemceni and currently housed in the British Museum, which details an extensive underground passage built between the Great Pyramid and the River Nile, with what he calls a strange thing blocking the Nile entrance. He says, "In the days of Ahmed Ben Tulun, a party entered the Great Pyramid through the tunnel and found in a side chamber a goblet of glass of rare colour and texture. As they were leaving, they missed one of the party, and, upon returning to seek him, he came out to them naked and laughing, and said, 'Do not follow or seek for me,' and then rushed back into the pyramid. His friends perceived that he was enchanted." Upon learning about strange happenings under the pyramid, Ahmed Ben Tulun expressed a desire to see the goblet of glass. During the examination, it was filled with water and weighed, then emptied and reweighed. He wrote that it was found to be the same weight when empty as when it was full with water. In the 10th century, Masudi wrote about fascinating mechanical statues with amazing capabilities, which stood as guards preventing anyone from entering the subterranean chambers located beneath the Great Pyramid. These mechanical statues were supposedly programmed to destroy all, except those who by their conduct were worthy of admission. Masudi also said that written accounts of wisdom and acquirements in different arts and science were hidden deep, that they might remain as records for the benefit of those who could afterwards comprehend them. He also said, "I have seen things that one does not describe for fear of making people doubt one's intelligence, but still, I have seen them." These are obviously ancient texts, but even more recent writings have discussed the cavities, chambers and tunnels beneath Giza, especially beneath the Sphinx. There are also a number of entrances, one in the top of the head, sealed by a metal trapdoor, one in its back, and another to the rear, in which Zahi Hawass was famously filmed. The stone that covers the rear entrance is lighter in colour than the other stones, and it is also removable. In 1935, a magazine article written by Hamilton M. Wright talked of a discovery beneath the Giza sands, and was accompanied by photos by Dr. Selim Hassan. He said, "We have discovered a subway used by the ancient Egyptians. It passes between the causeway leading between the second pyramid and the Sphinx. It provides a means of passing under the causeway from the Cheops pyramid to the Pyramid of Khufu. From this subway, we have unearthed a series of shafts leading down more than 125 feet, with roomy courts and side chambers." Around the same time, more information came to light and made international news, saying how the apartments and subways were excavated out of solid living bedrock thousands of years ago. In the past century, 4 enormous vertical shafts were also discovered on the Giza Plateau and are now dubbed Campbell's Tomb. The shafts led to spacious rooms, which contain huge basalt and granite sarcophagi. There are further shafts and chambers that go down as far as 40 meters into the bedrock, terminating in a chamber flooded with water that partly covers a solitary white sarcophagus, dubbed the Tomb of Osiris. In the 1940s, archaeologists reported on their bewilderment when they stated that the caves under Giza were like a beautifully planned vast underground city. They mentioned on record how it contained temples, pastel-painted peasant dwellings, workshops, stables, and other buildings such as a palace. They stated it was complete with hydraulic underground waterways, with a perfect drainage system. This particular observation, to me, provides a strong link between the subterranean chambers and the pyramids. As I've said in previous videos, I believe the Egyptian pyramids, although possibly having a number of different functions, depending on the layout of their internal chambers, were part of a water management system. Each pyramid also has known subterranean passageways, and as we have seen, ancient writers have stated that they were linked to the vast underground network of caves. As well as linking to the pyramids, the cave systems are believed to link up with the River Nile, as well as large volumes of water such as Lake Moeris. 2 large pyramids once stood inside this lake, and when Herodotus came to Egypt, these pyramids were recorded as having 2 colossal seated figures on top. This is also shown in a pre-1851 engraving. But I'm not surprised that pyramids were built in the middle of an ancient lake, because I strongly believe that Egyptian pyramids were originally part of a vast ancient water management system. Entrances into the ancient Giza tunnel systems can be seen across the landscape, whether horizontal openings or deep vertical shafts. They are everywhere, but today they are totally off limits to the public. According to author Stephen Mailer, the tunnel system extends as far south as the Bent Pyramid in Dashur. So here again, we see evidence of yet more pyramids being connected to the cave system. Of course, a number of recent explorers have been into the Egyptian caves, such as researcher Andrew Collins, and they also film their adventures, which can be viewed on YouTube. In Andrew's footage, the caves he explored do look relatively crude and add credence to the idea that they were at least in part originally functional for the transportation of water. But he clearly didn't reach the documented city-like caves that were for human occupation. Officially, you are not allowed into the labyrinth, and authorities still deny the scale of the underground network. In fact, until recently, they tried to deny its existence altogether. Anybody that researches ancient Egypt knows that the pyramids, the Sphinx, and the labyrinth of caves are far more ancient than orthodox textbooks teach, and so covering up the cave network is obviously a way to conceal the truth. And what is the truth? The more I research Egypt, the more the true picture is emerging. I have already made videos on my ideas that the Great Pyramid was originally a water pump, and how the site of the Pyramid of Menkaure was once an ancient reservoir, as well as the unfinished pyramids at Zayat El Arian and Abu Rawash, but I am gradually adapting my hypothesis the more I research, and I have always said that my research is a work in progress. Although I once believed that the first pharaoh Narmer built the Giza pyramids, I now think they are in fact way older. The hypothesis that I am working to now is that the pyramids and the cave systems were part of one huge construction program. They are almost certainly ancient pre-dynastic structures. I believe that the huge cave systems were dug in part for the management of water, but also for human occupation, as ancient writers and researchers claim. A lost ancient civilization created a vast underground city with a highly advanced water management system. But why was there a need to build this vast city, and why build it underground? There must have been a reason to move the population out of harm's way. There must have been a looming large-scale crisis, and there was.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
A comet was on course to strike Earth. The pyramids were an integral part of this building project. Not only was the Great Pyramid built to preserve the scientific, mathematical, and engineering achievements of humanity with the sacred geometry, ratios, and astronomy built into the structure, it also functioned as a machine, pumping water through the underground city and possibly generating electricity, which could have been used to light the man-made underworld. Maybe the reason we never found any proof of electrical items in ancient Egypt is because the presumed Giza power plant was never intended for use above ground, and it was never in use in dynastic times. By then, the Great Pyramid was a ruin. Remember the mechanical statues mentioned by Masudi? Maybe this is an example of some of the ancient machinery. And what were the things he saw that he didn't want to describe in case he was ridiculed? Ancient high technology? In its current form, my video about the Pyramid of Menkaure no longer works for my overriding hypothesis. After more research and critical thinking, I now believe the pyramid was built in one stage, but I also believe it was a kind of reservoir. It is strange that the pyramids of Khafre and Menkaure have no chambers inside, but I believe that this is because the limestone they are made from acted as reservoirs. They were built to be man-made aquifers, like man-made mountains that would have been able to store and filter huge volumes of water. The granite casing stones at the bottom of the Menkaure pyramid would have also surrounded the Khafre pyramid in a similar manner, to ensure at least part, if not all of the structure, could act as an aquifer, trapping the water. Evidence of granite casing stone on the lower levels of the Pyramid of Khafre can be seen, but not as obviously as on the Menkaure pyramid. This isn't as far-fetched as it may sound, as many natural mountain ranges contain aquifers that are exploited by surrounding populations. Table Mountain holds billions of cubic meters of water. I would guess that if we could actually see the full internal structure of the Khafre and Menkaure pyramids, we would see exactly how this would work. If the River Nile and Lake Moeris became tainted with acid rains after the comet impact, the ancient civilization would need a way to ensure fresh, clean water. But why a pyramid? Why this particular shape? Well, after spending a decade researching this type of structure, Ukrainian physicist Dr. Volodymyr Krasnolovets discovered that water inside a pyramid remains liquid to minus 40 degrees Celsius. Therefore, if the world would enter a nuclear winter, the only place you could store high volumes of liquid water would be inside a pyramid. The physicist found 12 different phenomena associated with this structure. They improve the regeneration of tissue, help combat infection by viruses and bacteria, and boost the immune system of all organisms. Therefore, the sarcophagus inside the Great Pyramid would have been an ideal place to lie in if you were particularly unwell. Also, seeds stored inside a pyramid for 1 to 5 days show a 30 to 100% increase in yield. Furthermore, seismic activity near pyramids is reduced in severity and size, and violent weather also decreases in the vicinity of these structures. Capacitors have also been found to spontaneously charge inside. If you are going to create 3 giant structures above your underground dwelling place, 1 to pump water and 2 to store water, yes, you could make them any shape, but if you were intelligent enough, you would create them as pyramids, as they offer so many natural benefits to a society that will be fighting for survival against nature. In fact, you would make them 8-sided pyramids like we see at Giza, as this adds extra strength, a truly incredible engineering feat. They knew that when the cataclysm happened, they would not be able to go above ground, and so the pyramids have subterranean chambers to link up with the cave network. People could enter them without having to leave the underground city. Remember, this was an advanced civilization that went underground to save themselves. There probably was a hall of records beneath the Sphinx. The Great Pyramid probably did generate electricity and pump water. People could enter it for curative properties, whilst the other two were huge man-made aquifers. And all the pyramids were encoded with advanced geometry, maths, science and astronomy. And I think finally we now know why. Because there was a global cataclysm 12,800 years ago, when multiple fragments of a giant comet struck the Earth or exploded above the surface. The impact caused rapid heating and melting of the ice caps, but it then set in train a kind of nuclear winter and a period of deep cold and darkness that lasted until 11,500 years ago. It is this period of extreme cold that is often referred to as the Younger Dryas. The underground labyrinth and the amazing pyramids were built for the survival of humankind, to preserve the people and their advanced knowledge for 1,300 years of chaos. And if they didn't make it, if the people hadn't survived, then it is likely that the colossal stone structures would have. And that is why they were encoded with sacred knowledge. They were a time capsule. It is no surprise to me that advanced structures like Göbekli Tepe appeared at the end of the Younger Dryas, and why pyramid structures began to spring up on every continent across the world. The Giza project must have been a success, and the ancient advanced civilization and their knowledge was preserved. From Egypt they re-emerged when the conditions were right, and that is why we see evidence of advanced cultures that seemingly evolved from nowhere. Herodotus said the caves were 15,000 years old. 4th century Roman historian Ammianus Marcellinus said they were to conserve ancient wisdom during the flood. Masudi talked about the different arts and science hidden there as records for later people, and that he saw indescribable things. We need to listen to these ancient writers and connect the dots. They knew the truth, and soon everybody will. The only way to prove it is to give modern researchers free access to the caves of Giza, and I have no doubt that the discoveries would change the world. All the history books and all the research that has been done in the past 100 years will be quickly proved wrong, and the history of humanity will have to be rewritten. The cover-up in Egypt is an international scandal. Free access needs to be granted so we as humans can learn our true history. The pyramids of Egypt and the underground city was the true Noah's Ark, and in actual fact, this could well be true. Just look at this door panel found on a baptistry in Florence, Italy, created by Lorenzo Ghiberti in 1401. An art historian told researcher Jesse Waugh, who took this photo, that the scene depicts the opening of Noah's Ark after the waters receded. It is believed that a wise Benedictine monk instructed the artist, and what we are clearly seeing is people, birds and animals leaving a pyramid, as well as people exiting what could be a cave. Is this the truth behind Noah's Ark? New high-resolution imagery of the Dead Sea Scrolls has also revealed that according to Dr. Alexei Yuditsky, Noah's Ark had a pointed roof and was in the shape of a pyramid. And finally, in 1922, Dr. William Randolph published this in British and American newspapers, and he certainly believed the same as I, that the pyramids and caves of Giza were built to save humanity many thousands of years ago, and that was the truth behind the story of Noah's Ark. Whether or not the story of Noah's Ark is related to the Giza project is open to debate, but the construction works that took place at Giza were certainly the pinnacle of human achievement, and they were built before the end of the last ice age from the time before. It was a project to conserve and save humanity through what was expected to have been a possible extinction-level event. Today, a select few know the truth. They know why the pyramids were built and what lies beneath the sands of Giza. They have full access to the ancient knowledge, science, technology and wisdom, and it has been purposefully kept from the masses for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Knowledge, as we know, is true power. Thank you for watching this episode of Ancient Architects. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, please like the video, and please leave a comment below. Thank you very much.
All right, listen up. We're looking for anything that looks like drugs or paraphernalia.
Philadelphia Police Department, we have a search warrant. What is that smell?
Man, you gotta see this.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Ancient Architects. Whilst many have survived into the 21st century, there is real physical evidence for a number of lost pyramids of Egypt, and for those that haven't left an obvious imprint in the sand, there are numerous historical accounts. Danish naval captain Frederick Norden attested to a fourth pyramid on the Giza Plateau, whilst Herodotus documented 2 others, both of which, according to him, were comparable in size to the Great Pyramid. As many of you know, Herodotus was a Greek historian who lived during the 5th century BC. A contemporary of the great Socrates, he is often referred to as the father of history, a title conferred by Cicero. He was the first historian known to have broken from Homeric tradition to treat historical subjects as a method of investigation, by collecting his materials systematically and critically and then arranging them into a historiographic narrative. Being an historian, it is no surprise that he took great interest in Egypt, and when trawling through his writings, he offers the only description of 2 now lost pyramids that may have had a huge importance to the ancient Egyptian way of life. The pyramids I'm referring to once stood side by side in the centre of Lake Moeris, and astonishingly, they were both reportedly as tall as the Great Pyramid of Giza. On visiting the lake, Herodotus described what he saw. The measure of the circuit of Lake Moeris is 3,600 furlongs. This is the same number of furlongs as the extent of Egypt itself.
Yeah, I'm fucking hungry. I'm about to go see if dinner's done. There's a good chance I'll be back in here later on tonight, but if not, I'll definitely catch you guys in the morning.